Guys, I'm going to use a microphone because I found by the end of these trip meetings that I can hardly breathe because I've been pushing trying to project the back of the room. But good evening to you. Thank you for being here. In case you don't know, we leave 2 weeks from Saturday on our spring/summer band trip. This is the first time that we have tried this in the school year. The beauty of it is that it's going to allow us to do some activities such as whitewater rafting that we wouldn't have done in March when we normally go. But as you came tonight, hopefully you grabbed a packet. They're right in front of the room. If you need one of those, go ahead and get it. There's also a clipboard coming around, being passed around. If you have not signed in, you'll be on the lookout for that. I see it in the back right here right now. I think it's made its way down this side. Before you leave tonight, if you'll simply sign in so that we can know who was here, who was represented. But if you'll take a look at the packet, I'm going to go through this as quickly and efficiently as possible and make sure that we communicate effectively with everyone regarding the trip. We're fixing to haul your children off to Six Flags, to Atlanta, Georgia, and to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Some parents are extremely excited that we're hauling your children off. Others may not be that excited, I'm not sure. But guys, in 23 years of teaching, I think this will be my 21st trip of taking students off like this. And what I want to do is give you information efficiently as I can. If you'll look at that packet, we'll kind of talk through it. I try to keep everything in bullets that we need to discuss. If you'll notice, we're going to leave on Saturday, May the 30th at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, school gets out on Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are early release days that week. They finish up their exams, and then at 5 o'clock that Saturday morning, I thought about leaving Friday night, but that's an extra cost for hotel and so forth. We're going to meet, and we're going to be in here to check roll at 5 a.m. that Saturday morning. Why? Saturday's our Six Flags Day. The earlier we leave, the quicker we get to Atlanta, the quicker we get into Six Flags to play for the remainder of the day. Okay? We'll be gone Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll be returning Wednesday night, June the 3rd, around 6:30 is when I'm expecting us to get back in. Give or take 30 minutes for traffic or maybe more. But what we'll usually do is have students call and communicate as we're getting closer in. Right now, our personnel, we have 130 participants going on the trip, 97 adults, 4 staff, 97 students, you have 4 staff, 29 adults, as you can see going, so a good ratio of adults to students, a little less than 1 to 3. Transportation, again, we'll be taking Gulf Coast Tours out of Mobile, Alabama. That's the bus company that we usually use. Every once in a while we use Good Time Tours for shorter trips, but Gulf Coast Tours will be taking us. All their buses are like 2010 and newer, and most of the time on the trips we take with them, they're like the buses are usually less than a year old, so they're always really nice buses. We'll be taking 3 54-passenger charter buses, and those are air-conditioned, DVD equipped. There's a restroom on board. What we've learned, though, we will make rest stops somewhere between here and Atlanta. We will stop. Those restrooms are there if students need to use them. But as the bus drivers always say, what you put in there will stay in there till you get on. And they have a drop tank and so forth. But we encourage students, if they can't wait to the rest areas, I like to get them off the bus after 2.5, 3 hours and let them stretch their legs anyway. And then on our way from Atlanta up to Pigeon Forge, we'll actually stop. Our rest area stop, or traditional rest area stop, is the Super Walmart in Clayton, Georgia. So if you never thought about that, those are great rest stops because there's huge bathrooms in the front, bathrooms in the back, and they can get all the batteries and headphones and food and stuff they need. So, and then on the way home, of course, coming back from Pigeon Forge back down through Birmingham, we'll make rest stops about every 2.5, 3 hours and so forth. Movies they're allowed to bring movies, but only G or PG rated. That is Santa Rosa County School Board policy. And what I ask is on the DVDs that they simply write their name like a Sharpie on the DVD and probably on the DVD case. Over the years, I got a great collection of movies that went on band trips that never had names on them and never got returned back to the folks. Bus sign up, we'll start that next week. Usually the students are allowed to sign up. We try to even the chaperones out in front of the buses and students sign up who they want to sit with. But we'll do the bus sign up next week. Moving on down, if you look at hotel accommodations, we'll be spending one night, Saturday night after we visit Six Flags, at the Courtyard Atlanta, Cumberland Center. That's right next to Cumberland Mall. And looks really nice. I've got the contact information there for you. Also the website, I've posted that on there for you if you want to visit and kind of take a look. I will tell you this, we will only be there from about 10:30 that night until the next morning. It's going to be a shower, sleep, get up, load up, and leave kind of place. Okay? But one night there. The second hotel will actually stay Sunday night through Wednesday morning. is the Inn on the River. I had a chance back at Christmas when I was in Pigeon Forge to visit, and this is a cool place. Now, the trip before we stayed, the Inn at Christmas Place, which was awesome. It's Christmas year-round, except their room's more than doubled in price. So that for somehow we went 5 years ago, the rooms were like $79 a night, and now they want like $185 a night. So I don't know if it's because of the popularity, but the Inn on the River, for those that went on that trip 5 years ago, is right across the traffic light, catty cornered from there, and across the parkway and across the street light. So it's right there by it. It's located, yes, on a river that runs right across the Pigeon Forge Parkway. It backs up to the river. It's actually the old Hampton Inn. I found out when I was looking on the website today. But I had a chance to stop by and tour. It is one of those family-owned and operated type places where from like 2 to 9 they have sweet tea in the lobby, cookies, that type of stuff. It's got an indoor pool. It's got an outdoor pool. It's got picnic tables along the river, and several different things there. Keurig coffee maker. It has a mini fridge in the room, and it was a cool place. It was one of those where you kind of felt like home. There were 3 or 4 folks working in the front. We stopped by there, and it was just kind of a family-run type place. Students will stay 4 per room. Adults will stay 2 per room. I mentioned the indoor pool, outdoor pool, large hot tub. Rooming lists are up on the instrument room door. We allow students to sign up, and then mostly if you're married to the person, chaperones, you're staying in the room with them. Sorry, Ms. Cooley. I apologize in advance, okay? There is also a hair dryer and an iron and that Keurig coffee maker in the room. Any questions about transportation, hotel accommodations? Guys, I give you this information just in case, so you know where we are, and you're not going, well, I know my child's somewhere in Atlanta, okay? But this is also all up on our website. Mr. Schultz loaded it up there for you. Attractions and meals that are included. If you'll notice, is our admission ticket to Six Flags. The Six Flags meal voucher. Now, I first put out the information. We were looking at the all-you-can-eat buffet through Six Flags. And the more I got all this packet they sent me, it was a PowerPoint presentation from Six Flags, believe it or not. And I got to looking through it, and the buffet was a 2-hour window, but they only fed you for an hour. And then you had to choose which foods you want. And I thought, no, wait, if I'm on line for Goliath and it's 3 to 4 or 3 to 5, and they're going to feed us from 3:30, and I'm in line for Goliath, I may not make it back in time to eat. So what we're going to do is simply do the meal voucher. It's actually the same amount for the buffet. The meal voucher will allow them to eat whenever they want to. It will allow them to eat at different locations around the park, and usually it includes a main entree, a side, for example, a cheeseburger, French fries, a drink, and a cookie or a brownie or something like that. We've used those in the past. Only once have I done the buffet. And the more I got to thinking about it, I just don't know if it's worth it, because I don't know if we can get everybody back in that one location and have them have to run across the park, hurry up and eat in that 1-hour time frame. Does that make sense to you? So it includes that. It includes a family-style lunch at the Dillard House, which I'll talk a little bit about when we go over the itinerary, a scenic tour to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, the Hatfield and McCoy Dinner Show, hot breakfast buffet at the hotel when we're in Pigeon Forge on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the Over-Gatlinburg Aerial Tram, Ripley's Aquarium, plus one other Ripley's attraction, the Lumberjack Feud Dinner Show, Comedy Bar and Family Variety Show, and Dolly Parton's Dixie Stampede Dinner Show. All that's included in the $475. Hotel, tickets, meals, transportation. The stuff that's not included. And guys, I put prices out the side because every year I've learned I have parents go, how much do I need to send my baby? And so what I did is went ahead and kind of just gave you a ballpark figure. If Gray Weaver were eating, okay? All right, so your child may be a lot different than Gray Weaver eats. But you'll notice drinks, snacks, Six Flags, they may not need that. Matter of fact, it's probably going to be at 12:30, 1 o'clock when we get off the bus. They may just want to bring some snacks, they'll want to bring snacks and drinks on the bus with them, okay? But if they do, let's say they decide they're going to get a meal voucher. Let's say they decide, I want to eat lunch when I get to Six Flags, and I'll use my meal voucher for dinner. Then probably $12 or so for a meal. If they want to get popcorn and a drink, probably $10. I put on there $10 to $20. All right? Possible second meal in Six Flags, I put $10 to $20. Actually, if they want drinks, that's what I was thinking, because Gray Weaver's the kind that gets popcorn and a drink in the afternoon and 2 meals and so forth. Breakfast at the hotel in Atlanta is not recommended. There's a little, at the courtyard, there is a, what do you call those little places, Ms. Weaver? Little bistro. bistro in the lobby where you go up and buy food. But guys, we're going to be pigging out at the Dillard House at 11 o'clock that morning. And it's going to be all they can eat, family style, country cooking. I mean, it's served in big pots and bowls and plates on the table. So I would not really recommend eating at the hotel that morning. They're going to savor it. Activities at Ober-Gatlinburg. We're going to take the aerial tram up. What I learned a few years ago is we spent about 31 bucks on the wristband. We got up there, the wristband allowed them to go ice skating, allowed them to do the alpine slide and all the activities. We got up there, the ice skating was available, but it was misty rain on the outside and everything was closed. And we had wasted all this money on wristbands. And half of them didn't even ice skate. And so what we've done to bring the cost of the trip and keep it at $475 this year is we're going to provide the aerial tram up. If they want to ice skate, I called today, the ice skating is $9 per session. All right, the alpine slide is $7. Other activities such as putt-putt, golf, that kind of stuff is $4. So I figure $10 to $20 there if they would do ice skating, alpine slide, and one other activity. And then if you'll flip over to the next column, lunch in Gatlinburg that day, 10 to 20 bucks. And then if they want to do other attractions in Gatlinburg, $10 to $20. And then lunch on the way home, $10. I'm not a big souvenir guy. You may be. I put $20 to $40. You can sit down with your child and determine that. But based on Greg Weaver's estimations, and I'm not speaking third person, not excluding excursions, probably $80 to $150, depending on how your child eats, how much souvenirs they want to buy, that kind of stuff. Yes, sir. That's spending money.
That's all 3 days, all 4 days.
Yeah, that's what, and that's a guesstimation. Okay? Because every year I'll go, here's what they need to buy. Somebody go, how much you think they ought to bring? 80 bucks to 150. I mean, that's kind of my guesstimation. All right? Now let's talk about the excursions. The last full day that we are pitching forward. It's one of the beauties of us going in the school year as well, because we couldn't miss school and all the testing going on, is that we are spending an extra day on this trip. Remember, the last day is an excursion day. They're going to have 3 different choices of what they can do. The first one is whitewater rafting on the Big Pigeon River, and I'll go over that a little bit later, but you can see that's optional. That's going to be extra on top, and that's going to be something that once we know who's doing it, we're going to charge out. You're going to have to pay before we leave on the trip, because we'll use the credit card with the whitewater rafting folks. But the river trip is 30 bucks. It's $28, the group rate per person, plus a $2 river fee. I guess it goes to clean up of the river or something. So it's $30 a person, okay, if they want to go whitewater rafting. I put on there plus lunch. We were looking to do some group lunch type stuff. What they've told me when I talked to them on the phone yesterday, there's an outpost that will actually meet their people at. They'll take, kind of like you go to Ventures or Bob's, and they haul you upriver, drop you off, and you come back to the outpost. There's a cafe snack bar type thing there. They don't do group meal plans like I originally thought they did. But they said that like a barbecue sandwich combo is $7. If they want to eat, they'll have to eat at the cafe. There's showers there. Once they get off the roof, they want to shower, change clothes, grab a bite to eat. They'll be with Mr. Schultz there. I put plus lunch on there. Now I'll tell you this. We're going to have a hot breakfast buffet at the hotel. We're going to be going to Dixie Stampede that night for a big meal. So they can get by without buying lunch after they go whitewater rafting. They may just want to take a snack when they get back to the bus. They can eat some chips or a snack. Does that make sense to you? But I try to communicate that with the best that I can. Excursion option number 2 is hiking. What we're planning to do is haul that group up into the Smoky Mountain National Park, hike up to Laurel Falls, the waterfall, and after that, what I'm looking to do is buy a box lunch. I tried to call the firehouse subs up there today. I shared that with Mr. Peace a while ago. Dalton answered the phone, put me on hold, and I listened to a 20-minute conversation that he had with one of the customers. And I kept going, Dalton, woohoo! But I know all about Dalton. Worked 3 years at Dixie Stampede. The guy he was waiting on worked there. I know which is the good manager, which is the bad manager. I know all about the background of Dixie Stampede. It was an interesting conversation. I just wish I could have gave some input. But I'm still trying to get prices. But I'm figuring, Mr. Creech, you might have me $8 to $10 probably for one of those box lunches. Yeah, what we're going to do is once we get done hiking, is find somewhere there in the park. I tried the pavilions today. They're booked. But we're going to find somewhere at the creek side where there's room for the bus to pull over. And we're just going to have a little picnic on the side of the road next to one of the mountain streams. And so we'll take our box lunches after our hike in with us and do that part. So they'll need that $8 to $10 depending on what the total amount ends up being but I can get a price from those folks up there. Excursion option number 3 is the Parkway Trolley. And is to go up down the Pigeon Forge Parkway. If you've never been there, it is 6 lanes of tourist attractions. And it's hotels and restaurants and go-kart tracks and arcades and tourist attractions such as Wonderworks and Titanic, The Experience, and more go-kart tracks and more arcades. And every year we've never stopped in anything at Pigeon Forge but dinner shows. And the kids have always sat there by the windows going, Mr. Weaver. Okay, so we're giving them this option. The cost of that is $3. That $3 is their Pigeon Forge trolley all-day wristband. Okay, they'll get a wristband. The trolley stops all up and down the parkway, and it's real touristy, real safe in that area. And they'll go in smaller groups, and there'll be some adults that are doing that as well. I'm sure Miss Weaver will be on the parkway shopping that day. I don't see her whitewater rafting, or I don't see her hiking. So so they'll go up and down the parkway, hitting up those attractions. And I've got a little bit more information. They'll need lunch that day, and the attractions, of course, cost extra money. All right. Speaking of meals, attractions not included, we do have the band bank option. When you came in up here, we offer something called a band bank. And this is simply where we give you envelopes. And what you do is put your child's name on there, whatever you want them to get on Monday. We're not going to do it on Tuesday. Not going to do it on Sunday. Because all we would have done is Six Flags, and pretty much their meals are paid for on Sunday already. But Monday morning at breakfast, if you want your child to have $30 for that day, put your child's name on, stick $30 in an envelope. And then at breakfast that morning, we'll have a certain window of time, about 45 minutes. They'll stop, they'll pick up their envelope from us. We hold on to these until the day that we distribute. It helps the children, I'm sorry, they're not children, the young adults to budget money better, okay? And so forth. Same thing with Tuesday, same thing with Wednesday. This is an optional thing. We take it, we lock it up in a money bag. We lock it in the safes on the buses. As they actually around, they have a lock box on the bus. Same thing at the hotel. We keep track of this for them. But all you do is simply write their name on the outside, put whatever amount you want to have on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All we're going to do is hand them their envelope that morning. Okay? Ms. Weaver, anything you want to say about the...
Don't use one envelope for the whole trip. Please use one for each day.
Because we're not going to open the envelope. We're not going to make change. We're going to say, here you go, Jenny. Mr. Weaver, it's Sally. It's Tuesday. Here you go, Sally. Okay? So that's, everybody understand that. It's optional. It's not required by any means. We just learned a few years, well, actually we learned back in the mid-'80s when I ran out of money on the New York DC trip. This is a good thing to do, okay? Because I went, where'd that $100 go? And I went, okay, well, you got that snack, and you got that snack, and you played those video games, and so forth. So those envelopes are up here, and we'll turn those in that morning before we leave. Medications. Any questions about attractions or meals? Medications, guys, again, we're still under school board policy. That means the students are not allowed to have any kind of medication on them. They'll need to turn in all prescription medications. Usually with the school asks their original bottles, and we'll have paperwork that you'll need to fill out for that. And we will take care of that morning before we leave as well, as I'll kind of go over a schedule. Yeah, we're talking the AM in the morning. We'll go over that here as well in a few minutes. On Saturday morning, and then usually with the medications, we distribute that at breakfast, we distribute it at dinner. If there's a special needs case in the middle of the day, we make arrangements for that to happen. Or actually, Clifton, it's usually at night in the hotel, not dinner. Do what now?
It'll be whenever we get back to the hotel.
Yeah, we get back to the hotels. We usually don't haul the medications around with us unless it's like an EpiPen or something like that we put in the bag that we know that they need to be during an emergency. Over-the-counter medications, we will distribute that through our medical kit unless it's something that's a prescription. Sometimes they have to take 6 aspirins a day or something like that. But if that's the case, if you'll see Clifton when we get done tonight, Mr. Wheeler in the back of the room, holding up the Mountain Dew bottle, we'll talk to you about that, but we'll supply the other stuff. Matter of fact, Dr. Mayu, Dennis Mayu, also goes on our trips with us. And him and Jan, his wife, will be going with us again this year. We've learned that when Dr. Mayu's with us, we don't end up in any emergency rooms. We don't end up in any urgent care centers because he usually brings his own supplies from the doctor's office, antibiotics, anything that we may need that keeps us from going to emergency rooms and so forth. I have to get things. Okay? So Dr. Mayu will be going with us. Any questions about medications? If there is, if you'll see Mr. Wheeler when we get done here, okay? So, flip the page. What to wear? Let me go over the first one, because there's going to be a couple opportunities for them to wear swimwear. Please be modest in what you wear. Remember, this is a great rule, and we've used it for 20 years. If it jiggles, cover it up. That goes for girls, that goes for guys too. Okay? And I know it's silly, but if it jiggles, make sure there's clothing over it, okay? General rule. For Six Flags, comfortable summer clothing, it's probably going to get hot while we're in Six Flags. Or I'll put swimwear underclothes. There's water rides at Six Flags. Also, Hurricane Harbor is going to be open. That's kind of like a little water park in the back. It's not the Whitewater Adventure or whatever that is. Okay, but it's like, you know, fountain shooting up, a little kiddie pool. You can wade in. I have found myself on a hot summer day in the kiddie pool trying to cool down. All right, so if you are wearing swimwear, listen to me, please. Guys, don't walk around with your swim trunks on, no shirt. No, we don't go that way. Ladies, don't run around in a bikini. Have shorts on, have a shirt on over it. Okay, you with me? Everybody follow me. Help me out with that. Remember, it is a school trip. Good walking shoes. Be careful. We'll do a lot of walking. Six Flags over Georgia is uphill both ways. Every ride I've ever tried to get to is uphill. I swear. Okay? And the merry-go-round, the carousel is way up the hill. Okay? Because you'll see it way up on the hill. So good walking shoes for that. For the other days, Sunday through Wednesday, school-appropriate clothing. It can be shorts, t-shirts, blue jeans, etc. Okay? Even at night for the dinner shows, it's Pigeon Forge, it's Tourist Central. You can wear those same kind of clothes, casual wear, or you may want to dress up. You may want to bring your Western wear, your cowboy hat, or whatever for Dixie Stampede. Okay? That's up to you. I wouldn't recommend a tux. I wouldn't recommend a prom dress. Okay? But if you want to dress up kind of to go along with the mood, that's fine. All right? Any questions about what to wear? It's going to be summertime in the mountains. It will probably start to get warm the 1st of June, so be prepared for that. Let's talk about the excursions. You see an excursion day. Got more details here. Again, excursion 1 is whitewater rafting on the upper section of the Big Pigeon River. The cost is $30 a person. It is a 5-mile trip featuring 12 Class 3 and 3 Class 4 rapids. I will tell you that it's one of those kind of rapids. Okay? I've done it before, once. I'm not doing it this time. I fell out in the first rapid of the boat. Okay? I still have nightmares, but I survived. All right? So it is one of those. I've done the bunny slope rapids on the Nantahala River before, where you're like, ooh, there's ripples in the water. Look at there. This is not that kind of rapid. All right? It is the ups and downs, and you get jerked around up the raft and all that kind of stuff. Okay? I was the only one of the 100 rafts that fell out, but that's okay. What they're going to do that morning is about an hour bus trip, 45 minutes to an hour. They'll travel, hit the interstate, travel back to the east into North Carolina. They'll go to the outpost up there where they'll meet. They'll probably get on the school bus, okay, and they'll take them upstream, and then they'll raft back down to the outpost. Kind of like when you go to Adventures Unlimited or Bob's Canoes, you pull back out where you parked. And there will be a guide in each boat, okay. Learned that the hard way the first time on Nantahala on the baby slopes. Okay, but there will be a trained guide in each boat. The one that saved me, that yelled at me and told me to grab the paddle, and I thought he meant my paddle. But I let go of it. Wasn't worried about that paddle anymore. All I want to do is live. But pulled me back in the boat. There will be a guide in each boat that helps to maneuver them through, and so forth. They will each receive a helmet, hard helmet, life jacket, and a paddle. All that's provided by the company. Swimsuits, and I got this straight off their website. Swimsuits are comfortable clothing that can get wet needed. That's why it sounds that way, because I copied it straight off the website. You can wear swimsuits or comfortable clothing that can get wet. You need tennis shoes, water shoes, or river sandals only. No flip-flops, Crocs, or bare feet. You got to have shoes that will stay on your feet. Okay? Why? Because when you sit there, all that a whitewater raft is an inner tube with a cushiony floor that's strapped onto it. There's water that's constantly coming in. And you actually lock yourself in between the cushiony floor and the inner tube. You lock your feet in right there, matter of fact. You sit on the outside edge on the inner tube and lock your feet in. You can't have shoes that come off. Does that make sense to you? So know that. Don't forget sunscreen. You probably want to bring a towel, change of clothes. Why? We don't want you crawling back on the charter bus wet. All right, they do have hot showers there at the outpost. Again, they have lunch available there. They have a cafe type thing they told me about. And what I need you to do to sign up, as it was on the door, I'll pull it off. The sign up is right over here. I need you to sign up for your excursion by Thursday, this Thursday. I'll put those back on the door after the meeting. Also, there are liability forms that they sent me today. They're right up there. They're just like the ones we use here on the river that says we're not held accountable for anything that happens. That's something you and your child need to talk about. Okay? Yes?
Are they gonna have lockers at the outfits?
They'll have the charter bus.
Okay.
They lock it. The bus driver will stay. Yes?
How long does it take to go down?
About an hour and a half. Yeah. I thought I put that on there, but I guess I didn't. About an hour and a half is what he said. Yeah. So,
Unless you have to stop at
yeah, 5-mile trip, and they said about an hour and a half up. Now, there's times that they'll hit, in between the rapids, they'll hit smooth water, and they'll let you out of the boat, or sometimes it depends on the water, they'll let you out of the boat. The time we went, it starts at the North Carolina Power and Light Company, and there's this big power factory up on the hill. And we got there was nothing but rocks. And then all of a sudden, it was like 10 o'clock or 10:30 that morning, and we heard the alarm go off, and they opened the dam, and the water started flowing. And there were times we would outrun the water. We'd have to kind of pull off to the side because we were getting stuck on rocks. But they would let us off the boat a little bit and swim in the smoother parts, or float alongside the rapids always moving. But if you've never been on a white water, the river runs downhill. So you can tell you're going downhill all the time. So, but that's excursion number 1. Any questions about that one? Any more questions? Excursion number 2. Hiking Laurel Falls, picnic lunch in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. $8 to $10 a person, depending on what the cost of lunch is. 45-minute bus ride into the national park. We'll have to go around Gatlinburg, the Sugarlands Visitor Center, turn like we're going towards Cades Cove for about 3.5 miles, and then we'll get off the bus right there. Hike is 2.6 miles round trip. It's about a 2-hour hike in and out. So about an hour in, about an hour out. It is paved. They say it's moderate grade. It's a paved trail. It does have some steep climbing though in it, little small parts of it, they said. When we get there, we'll see an 80-foot cascading waterfall. That means it kind of hits and it kind of comes down the hill like that, where it has like steps. And we'll spend a little bit of time there. After the hike, we'll get back to the bus. We'll find a nice stream side location where we'll have our box lunches, okay? You need to wear comfortable hiking clothing, including good shoes. You don't want to wear flip-flops while you're hiking 2.6 miles, all right? It ain't going to be the kind of hiking on a rough trail. It's a paved road, all right? Just so be aware of that. Don't forget bug spray, and you may want to bring a towel or blanket for the picnic lunch. We're not going to have a pavilion. I couldn't get one. So you may just sit on the grass. If we get along the stream somewhere, a nice location, you may kind of play, wade out the stream a little bit on the rocks or whatever. But I mean, they want to bring a towel or a blanket or something once we find our location, all right, for the picnic lunch. Any questions about excursion number 2? Sign-up list is right up here in the middle. Excursion number 3, fun on Pigeon Forge Parkway utilizing the trolley system. You can see the cost is $3 per person plus their lunch that day, plus whatever attractions they choose to do. They may just spend the day shopping, not necessarily buying anything, but looking around. We are going to use the Pigeon Forge trolley system. Then we get a wristband that allows them to get on and off, and there's about 15 different stops, 12 to 15 stops up along the Pigeon Forge trolley system there. They must stay in groups of 3 or more. Now, they're a high school. I've learned this from being in places. We're not going to keep them with an adult. We're not going to have 15 students and 2 adults, not in Pigeon Forge. In New York City, absolutely. Okay, not in Pigeon Forge, not in Gatlinburg. But they must stay in groups of 3 or more. The reason I tell them that, if one gets hurt, one can stay with the person that's hurt, the other will get help. Okay? So groups of 3 or more. We'll have adults up and down the parkway. We'll be giving them cell phone numbers in case you have an emergency. Call Ms. Weaver or whoever. Some of the adults, we'll give them those phone numbers that day, along with their wristband. They may not return to the hotel. We'll collect room keys. They may not return to the hotel before 3 o'clock until the other groups get back. Don't need them going back hanging out at the hotel. Trouble takes place. Okay? As the principal once said, we want to make sure we come back to the same amount of people that we left with. All right? So just understand. If you don't get it, that's okay. We'll give them contact numbers. Not from a banker, okay? All right. Just to clarify. Probably need to bring cash, ATM card for whatever excursion, whatever they're gonna do, attractions that day. I would recommend that they have a cell phone, they bring it with them that day, that way they can contact the adults if they need to. Guys, again, there's go-kart tracks, arcades, touristy spots, shopping located all up and down. I called a few of them today just to kind of get you some prices, or went online and looked. There's the NASCAR Speed Track, which has 6 go-kart tracks. We did that one New Year's Eve where I like froze to death trying to run go-karts. They've got a $28 wristband where you can do all the attractions. It was okay. It's got two of the tracks are kind of cool. When the old Hillbilly Boys from Pigeon Forge got on there, that was friends with the guy that was monitoring the track, and they let us start beating and banging. That was a lot of fun. Okay, but usually they got all the rules, but it's $28. Fast Tracks go-karts, it's $9 per ride, but they said that when they show up, let them know that I called ahead, and they would get buy one, get one. I hope that works. Okay, just tell them your band director called ahead, and we'll give them 2 for 1. So $9 for 2 rides. They supposedly have the fastest go-karts on the parkway. Wonderworks is a hands-on exhibit. I don't know how to explain it. Wonderworks. There's one in Orlando too. If you haven't seen it, it's kind of a cool attraction. You go through and there's different, like a wind tunnel, ropes course, kind of different things. To do that, to do the laser tag combo online was $28. Okay. Titanic, the experience we've done before was online pre-order. You can buy tickets online, $22. That was cool. They've got artifacts from the Titanic you walk through, and they've got different areas that look like the grand staircase from the Titanic. They got the area where you can see if you can hold your out. They've got the water that was the temperature of the ice of the water, and you put your hand in there, you know, till you can't feel your hand anymore. All that kind of stuff. As well, Ripley's Old McDonald's Farm Mini Golf is also an attraction that's there in Action Pigeon Forge. We can combine it with the other 2 Ripley's things we're doing if they'll let you know in advance, and that is $6 if they want to order that ticket in advance. But that kind of gives you an idea of some of the prices up and down the parkway. Does that make sense? Shopping is whatever you allow them to spend. Okay? Any questions about that excursion? Yes?
You guys, what are these things like, or do we sign up for you and you go?
The only one that I can order for them is the Ripley's Old McDonald's Farm Mini Golf, because we're going through Ripley's for the aquarium and the other Gatlinburg attraction. Everything else they you can buy there, you go online and order.
Right, so you have this website, so you put up.
I can get them to you, or you can look up Titanic, Pigeon Forge. You look up Wonderworks, Pigeon Forge, and all that stuff pops up. It's pretty easy to Google it. And I will get that out to them. It's the Haunted Adventure, and there's, I forgot what the other one was there. Movie theater, yeah, movie theater. Yeah, Believe It or Not Museum, yeah, that's it. And I forgot all about that, to be honest with you. But I will have it, I'll need to know what everybody wants to do on that. Okay. Any questions about excursion number 3? Departure morning, real quick. Guys, the band room's gonna open about 4:30, probably no earlier than 4:30 unless Mr. Schultz gets up earlier. Okay? We'll check in medications, band bank envelopes. When you get here, if the buses are in the parking lot, go ahead and put your luggage underneath your bus. If you're on signed up on bus 3, go ahead and put your luggage underneath. When you get here, if the bus is here, go ahead and put your personal belongings in your seat or above your seat. That's a little different than we've normally done. Go ahead and put your stuff on the bus, come in here. I don't want suitcases all up in here and it taking us forever to load, because the faster we get loaded, the faster we get on the road, the faster we get to Six Flags. So 3 Gulf Coast tour buses are sitting out there. As soon as they open the doors, you put your suitcase underneath, put your stuff on the bus, and come in here, as I do want to see you and check roll. I don't want to do it on the buses. I want to do that in here, okay? And then we'll check it a second time we get to the buses. At 5 o'clock that morning, we're going to check roll, and then we'll give instructions to everybody to load once we check roll. Okay? That's the departure morning. Let's talk about rules and policies. No alcohol. It's school board rules, guys. No alcohol. No tobacco. No medications. Adults can have medications. Students cannot. Okay? Hotel rules. Guys stay out of girls' rooms. Girls stay out of guys' rooms. If you need something from a girl's room and you're a guy, knock on the door, take a step back, and say, "Excuse me, can I get my headphones back?" or whatever. At no time, even with the door propped open, should I ever see a boy coming out of a girl's room or a girl coming out of a boy's room. If I do, we're going to handle it. We're going to handle it real right there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put you on chaperone arrest, and we're gonna make you sleep in an adult room on the floor. Because we won't have any trust at that point, okay? I'm serious about that, everybody understand me? Okay. Curfew each night, we get back to the hotel, they'll hopefully be dragging, that's the way we run our trips. Is get them up early, run them hard all day, put them to bed when we get in at night. We'll set curfews, they will need to, mind those curfews, you don't exit your room unless there's a fire at the hotel, of course. We can't leave, no, if there's a fire, you can leave, okay? But after curfew, if curfew's 11 o'clock at night, I better not look out in the hallway or be walking down the hallways, which I do for several hours after we get back. I don't sleep well at night and go on trips anyway, neither does Mr. Schultz, so we find ourselves walking all hours of the night and see you running the snack machine or the Coke machine or running in somebody's room. Again, you will find yourself on chaperone arrest. It's just that simple. So trust me. Okay, if you have an emergency, we'll give you a rooming list. You can call Mr. Schultz's room, my room, or one of our rooms, and we'll help you with that. Okay? Noise. Make sure at the hotel after a certain time, there may be times, for example, in Atlanta, that we're not getting to the hotel till 10:30. We'll ask the band to go into what we call stealth mode. That means we enter quietly. Why? Because there's other guests at the hotel, many that are already in bed. And so we don't need to be running up down the halls, rolling our luggage and screaming and yelling, "Hey, I'm in room 238." Okay? So please help us with that. You know, the afternoons, early evenings, we don't want to be, act like we've never left Milton. But, a little bit of noise is okay, but it doesn't need to get out of hand. All right? Damage to room. Once you get to your hotel room, you and your roommates check in, you need to check around, make sure there's no holes in the wall, any damage to the room. If there is, come find me or Mr. Schultz and let us know. When we go to check out, we will have adults that check the rooms. If there are holes in the wall, if there is any kind of damage to the room, broken lamps and so forth, that amount, once we're charged, will be divided amongst the folks in that room. I've had to deal with that in 23 years, okay? And hotel repair is expensive. A hole in the wall could cost about $250, $300 divided amongst the room to get fixed, okay? So if you see damage, come report it immediately. If you do damage, it'll be divided amongst the folks in that room unless we can figure out who the person was that did it, and they'll be responsible for damage. The band does not pay for the repair hotel damage, the students do. Okay? Everybody follow me on that? I've been there, I've been in high school band, I've been around a long time. I know you try to wrestle and all that stuff. All right, understand if damage is done, you're gonna pay. All right? PDA rules, let's talk about that. Band trips, we see lots of couples spring up. Okay? I wouldn't recommend dating anybody in the band, it's a bad thing, okay? Because eventually it ain't gonna work out, and there's a lot, but anyway, all right, we won't go there. On the bus, remind you, PDA rules for school apply on the trip. You can hold hands. On the bus, pillow between you, leaning against each other, I'm not gonna say anything probably, as long as there's a barrier between you. You curl back in your seat, legs around each other, trying to sleep, no. Okay, let me go again. Pillow between you, lean against each other, I'm probably not gonna say anything. Anything else? Okay, not gonna go for it. You with me? Not leaning into each other, your arms around, hugging, I love you, baby. No. Okay? Again, it's a trust thing. We have issues, we have a thing, incident where we don't feel like we can trust you, we will separate you. Okay? Separate buses. We've done it for football games. Okay? We've done it for trips. We'll do what we need to do so that we feel like things are where they need to be. All right? Hotel, same thing. Don't need to be out by, you can hold hands. I tell the kids this, if you're hugging them goodnight and it's just one of those kind of hugs, probably not going to say anything. If it's one of those longing into each other's eyes, and no. Okay? So, everybody follow me. All right, if you'll help me with that, please. Same thing anywhere we're at. Same rules apply. Let's be nice young men, young women. Let's leave a good image where we go. Another rule, policy, be on time. Be where you need to be, when you need to be there, and pay attention. If we stop at a mall, we'll give you a time. You say, you're going to be back here at 1:30. What time? 1:30. And don't be the one at 1:40 we're in the mall looking for. And our kids are great about being where they're supposed to be. They really are. Okay? But don't be the one that ruins that for everybody else. Or you'll find yourself, again, hanging out with me and Mr. Schultz, and be our little buddy the rest of the time with no freedom. If we go to the bathroom, guess where you go? If we want to eat raw sushi, guess what you eat? Okay, so help us with that. Moving on, next column over there, trash and food. Guys, let's make sure everywhere we go, bus, let's make sure we keep the trash picked up. That's our home for 5 days. In restaurants, let's make sure that we don't pile up food and leave messes. Let's leave places cleaner than we found them everywhere we go. Okay, our band, for years, everywhere we've gone, has left a good reputation. One of the coolest things that we get as a compliment, we'll go leave a restaurant and they'll go, we were not looking forward to having a high school group in here. But I want you to know you had some great young people. And they were polite, and they were patient. That's one of the greatest compliments that we can get paid. And we'll share those with you as we roll on the trip. Let's keep that going, okay? Let's keep that going. Respect yourself, respect others. That means don't cause drama. Don't do, Susie's across the aisle sleeping on the bus, and so you decide you're going to stick your dirty sock under her nose. Don't do that stuff, okay? Don't do that. Respect others. Staff, chaperone authority, please understand, as I always tell our band at the beginning of football season, if a staff member or chaperone asks you to do something, unless it's illegal, unethical, or immoral, you do it without lip, okay? You do it without lip. If you think there's an issue, you come find me or Mr. Schultz a little bit later on, and we'll handle it at that point, okay? But if a chaperone tells you, guys, you get in your room and get quiet, we've got 2 minutes. Don't argue. Get in your room. Okay, everybody follow me on that. Respect their authority, please. Again, if they ask you to jump off the building, no. Okay? So, illegal, unethical, immoral, you don't do it. Anything else, you do. Language, actions. Be aware of your language. Be aware of your actions. Make sure that you're a great representative of our school, our community, and our families. Extremely important. Don't sweat the small stuff. Always share this. And this young lady, it's funny because I eat at a place and she waits on me. Every time I see her, I think about this. She was in our group years ago. We used to take the van to San Antonio. And her boyfriend broke up with her right out here. We were an old man. Broke up with her right out there as we're getting on the bus. Broke up with her. And all the way to San Antonio and all the way home, all she did was cry. And we get to the restaurant, she's just... I'll go with her. Okay? Because after the 13th time, we go, get over it. All right? If you quit crying, you might pick up another guy. But listen, there are some things you can't control. Okay? I can't tell you the number of trips, football games, where the bus breaks down, or the equipment truck breaks down, or something beyond our control. We will handle it. Okay? Just don't sweat. Don't be all like, I can't believe we've had to wait outside this restaurant for 30 minutes. Why aren't they ready for us? And don't sweat the small stuff. Have a good time. All right? So help me with that. Leave a great impression everywhere we go. Again, here's the consequences. And I've only had to use these on a few occasions, all right? You do stuff you know is wrong, all right? If it's a legal matter, we're just going to call the police, all right? The chaperone arrest is a drag, trust me. It's a drag not only for you, it's a drag for us too, I'll be honest. Because I don't want somebody ever tag around with me or Mr. Schultz or one of the other chaperones. But the way it works, if you do something, a major trust issue violation, you're going on chaperone arrest. What that means is you sleep on the floor of our room, okay? Guys in the guys' room, girls in the girls' room. That means that on the bus, you're up there by us, which we don't want you up there by us, okay? We have fun. And that means we get out at the mall or the attraction, and you're right there with us. You're our shadow for however long. Sometimes it may be a day or two, maybe the rest of the trip, depending on how severe. Okay? We don't want that. You don't want that. You paid good money to go on the trip. Don't do things stupid that's going to get you in trouble. All right? Worst big time scenarios, only had to do this once, almost twice. Okay? And actually I didn't do it once because we couldn't fly them back from New York City because they were leaving the next day. But is to send them home. If they do something major, they decide, hey, we're going to get drunk. I'm going to call you and say, come get them. Or call the law and say, hey, I got a minor here drinking. Okay, you with me? Don't do anything to bring us down, to bring our reputation down. I love each and every one of you, but we can't, we got to police ourselves on that. Okay, cool? In case of an emergency, you can contact me at 324-9768, Mr. Schultz right there. Now, if your child, for some reason, they're not calling you, text me, if you will, because usually we're on these trips. These are not vacations for us, trust me. We're hauling off 97 students, 2 states over, okay? So we're working. Usually we're on the charter bus, we're calling the next place. Hey, we're coming, are you ready for us? But text us, we'll get them the message when we can. An emergency, hey, I really need to talk to my child. We've had a major family emergency. By all means, call us. Does that make sense? So please don't call me every day and go, how's Johnny doing? Okay, work that out. And that's happened. It's happened. Okay, work that out with Johnny. Make sure you got a way that they're going to communicate with you. All right, guys. The last 2 things you see right there, I'm not going to necessarily go over, but the packing list, what to bring. I put that out every year just to help. I have students go, hey, I need another packing list. That really helps. I do this myself when I go anywhere. Last thing you want to do is go off on a trip and you forget underwear or deodorant or whatever. So that's what that's there for. And then you'll notice the trip itinerary is on the last page. A few things you'll notice on Saturday, we'll be at Six Flags that day. Now, what happens at the park is once we let them loose in the park, we give their admission ticket at the gate, their bill ticket, they're on their own until our meeting time, which is about 9 o'clock that night. If there's a medical need, they report to the first aid station. We will have our medical book, we will have our medical kit at the first aid station there at Six Flags. If I remember right, it's around the left past over there by where you get on the train. The first aid station will have our cell phone numbers. If we have a student there, what we do is chaperones take turns going. Let's say a student's sick or if they're vomiting, we'll have one of us to get to them, and then we'll shift off. There will always be an adult there with them. Okay, I may stay for an hour, and then Miss Murda may be there, and Miss DeWitt may be there the next hour. That's how we do that. Okay, so if there's an emergency or something, they'll have our phone numbers. They go to first aid, and to get the attention that they need. And I've had several visits to first aid at Six Flags before. It wouldn't be anything new. So that's how we handle that. Again, we get to the hotel Saturday night. It's going to be 10:30 probably, 11 o'clock depending on traffic when we get to the hotel, because we're going to stay at the park, closes at 9, so we'll need to be in stealth mode. On Sunday, I don't recommend breakfast. Again, we're going to drive up to Dillard, Georgia, and we're going to stop at the Walmart right before we get to Dillard House. And we stop at this Walmart every 5 years and give them about 30 minutes there to do any kind of shopping that they need to do, use the restroom, and then we'll move on to Dillard House. The Dillard House, guys, I think it's my absolute favorite restaurant. And you can trust me because I'm a heavyset guy. Okay? It is, if you remember the old Hopkins boarding house in Pensacola, the Dillard House here is in Dillard, Georgia. It's overlooking a little valley with the Natchitoches boarding school. Raven Gap, Natchitoches, something like that. Boarding school, sitting on the other hill. It's a gorgeous view, big glass windows, and it's preserved family style. They have country ham, fried chicken, smothered steak to die for. Okay, with smothered gravy, fresh vegetables. They bring out bowls and plates, and there may be a table of 16 people. And they bring it out, and when you run out of fried chicken, you go, hey, can we get some more fried chicken? And they bring it to tables. Okay, they can eat, their little hearts are content with food that day, and it is good food. We'll do that. We'll get on the buses after that. We'll sleep for a little while because we'll all be so exhausted from eating. And then we'll make our way through Cherokee, North Carolina. We will go over the top of the Smoky Mountains. We'll stop up at Newfound Gap, which is the North Carolina-Tennessee state line. We'll spend a little bit of time up there. Let them take pictures. Gorgeous views up there. A lot of times the clouds will be below you. And then we'll make our way back down the mountain. You can see get to our hotel about 4 o'clock that afternoon. Check in, let them rest and relax a little bit, freshen up. And then that night, 7:15, we've got to be at the Hatfield McCoy dinner show. That is meal included. Most of those meals include stuff like some kind of meat, some kind of vegetables, corn, mac and cheese, that kind of stuff. You can go online and Google those places and it'll tell you what the menu is. On Monday, we'll get up, hot breakfast buffet at the hotel. We will head over to over to downtown Gatlinburg. We'll go all the way pretty much through Gatlinburg. We will get to the OBER Gatlinburg aerial trail that takes us up on the mountain to an amusement park up there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's one of those big, it's not a ski lift, but it is a kind of an alpine lift that holds about 65 to 75 people. Big cable car, goes way up and you're looking way down, okay? Everybody goes up. We get up there, they'll have an opportunity to ice skate, alpine slide, there's several other things they can do up there. They will make their way back down the mountain, 3 or more in a group. They'll come back down the big alpine, or the big ski lift to downtown Gatlinburg, and they will walk through Gatlinburg. If you've never been there, it's a 2-lane highway that zigzags through nothing but tourist attractions on both sides. Shops, restaurants, tourist attractions. They'll have an opportunity to do one Ripley attraction, which I'll put that sign up list a little bit later. I believe, if I remember, it's Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum they can choose. They can choose Ripley's Motion Theater, or what was the other one? Mirror Maze? Yeah, the Haunted Mansion, sorry. Yeah, the Mirror Maze, not word. Or Ripley's Haunted Mansion, okay, which is the one they usually choose. They'll have all day to make their way back down through the parkway, and then you'll see on Monday about 4:30, we will meet together at the Aquarium of the Smokies, where we will go into the aquarium, okay? We'll spend about an hour and a half going through the aquarium, and 2 hours or so, and then we'll be gathered back up. The buses will meet us. We will load up, leave straight from Gatlinburg, and then go to the Lumberjack Feud Dinner Show. If you ever watched the Lumberjack Games or been to Alaska, that's where they have teams. This is kind of they've got singers and dancers, and then they've got 2 families that are battling out for the mountain, but they do all the lumberjack games where they climb the big tall timber things. It's a race to the top. They have the big saw cut competitions. And, you represent one family or the other family, and you're cheering them on, but it includes dinner as well that night. They do the log rolling. They've got little pools in there. They're on the logs trying to throw the other one off the log and all that. It's a lot of fun. We've done it once or twice. We'll finish up our night with that on Tuesday. That's our group excursion day. Then everybody will be back at the hotel by 4 o'clock that day because we'll be leaving for the Comedy Barn. We've got the Comedy Barn show at 5. Once it gets over, about 6:30, we will leave straight out and go to Dixie Stampede. Okay? And Dixie Stampede is probably one of the top attractions up there. That's Dolly Park's Dixie Stampede, where they have all the horses. You get to sit on the north or south side. We're on the south side. Okay? Already requested that. And there's a dinner, everything that you eat with your hands. Okay? Cornish hen, half-baked potato type thing. Vegetable soup that you just drink out of the bowl, that type stuff. But it's a fun time. We'll finish with that night. Wednesday morning, get up, hot breakfast buffet. We will head back. We'll stop at the Galleria Mall for lunch at the food court. Be in about 6:30. Any questions? Please, if you make sure if you'll sign up on these Scarsdale Scouts, if you have questions, please email me, see me afterwards. All right, no other questions? Have a good evening.